Our next guest is one of the most successful businesswomen in the country, and she's offering a free webinar to help small businesses get back on track this summer. Barbara Corcoran is the founder of the Corcoran Group. She's also best-selling author, and of course, a lot of you know her as a shark on Shark Tank. Barbara, welcome to BNC. Thank you for starting your day with us.
Thank you, Mike, for having me.
Happy to have you. Hey, tell us about this webinar. I'm excited about this. What can people expect?
Well, we're continuing our Business Unusual webinar series, as we call it, presented by AT&T Business. We've been doing them for a short while now. Today we're doing the second in our new series of 4. Shall I tell you what it's about?
Yes, please tell us what it's about.
Okay. You know, so many small businesses, everyone knows, have struggled through the pandemic. And now that we're seeing the end of the day, or the light of the day, I should say, everyone thinks people are going to get back on their feet, but it's just not the case. It's almost as though the small businesses have a whole new set of problems they have to contend with. So I share the passion with AT&T of helping small business get back on their feet, and we're addressing that in our seminar today. We give as much helpful advice as we can that people can use as they go back to work tomorrow morning.
So you've heard from those business owners. What are some of the main issues that they've had to deal with because of this pandemic?
Well, the biggest challenge for such a huge percentage of our population is recruiting workers to come back to work. We have very generous unemployment benefits. A worker, for example, in New York City, the minimum wage is $12.50, which, say, someone in your typical factory or restaurant is paid regularly. But if you stay home, you get about $20 an hour in New York. And so businesses are having a heck of a challenge recruiting people to come back to work and getting new workers. Also, on top of that, it's a very competitive worker market right now. The job postings are up 20% in the last 2 months alone. So workers can choose from a lot of options when they decide to go back to work. So smaller businesses that rely on manual labor, like the servers, the factory workers, the person that greets you when you walk in a restaurant door, are given many other options, and one of the best options is just staying home. And this is a challenge that everybody's wrestling with and is really crippling many of the businesses for getting back on their feet.
Yeah, so businesses, especially bigger businesses, need employees to actually keep their business going. So if they can't find good employees who are willing to work for their wages, how do they make money? What's your advice to them?
They can't make money. And you know what even a large issue is, Mike, that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's so true because I work with entrepreneurs for my living every single day because I've invested in so many in different areas. It's a real psychological challenge for people to think they've come through, they've made it through, they owe a lot of money, they've struggled with cash flow, and now finally they can get back to business as usual. And to find that, no, there's another whole stretch ahead of them that they have to race to get through without a lot of help. There's not a lot of help out there from the government or the states to help small businesses. And that is a tremendous challenge when you've been running the line for, say, 14 months straight, trying to make ends meet. And then you realize, okay, it's almost over. And then you realize, no, it's not over. And I have a new problem today. And so just supporting the small businesses, I think, is a real challenge and something that's so needed emotionally, because it's an emotional challenge for each of these small owners to do business every day.
Yeah, Barbara, the coronavirus, this pandemic has affected business owners on how they do business these days as well. I mean, they used to have, especially restaurants, you could have customers come inside. Now they got to rely more on delivery services. Once again, the employees. What advice do you have to those who had to adjust to the unexpected? If there's a new norm of going about it in a different way in the future?
Well, the largest challenge, as I mentioned, is getting workers to help you run your business now that you're allowed to run your business with less restrictions. And what the smartest people out there are doing is offering sign-up bonuses. That was never offered before. Come in and start work. We'll give you $250 on your first day as long as you stay for 2 months. That's a sizable incentive. People are raising their wages well above the minimum wages and passing it on to the consumer. couple of the franchise chains out there right now are offering to pay for your college education. If you work a minimum of 15 hours a week, they've worked out deals with their local colleges. And so all of a sudden, the tables have been shifted. It used to be that the guy who owned the business was in charge. And now what's happening is switched the other way. The people who work the businesses are firmly in charge. And so you've got to really, as a business owner, shift your whole headset to think, I'm not the boss anymore. What do I do to get these people motivated and to stay with my company that don't get lured away to the next guy? And that's a re-education of a headset, a total different kind of thing. Because if there's one thing every boss is usually assured of, is that they're the boss. But in today's economy, the pandemic has switched that, flipped it right on its head.
Well, you got to give them incentive these days, right? As an employee, it's almost making it seem like they own the company. We've seen some company, I think Southwest Airline had some of their employees making it feel like they're part of the company as ownership so they can have a little bit more pride in the company. I got to ask you about you real quick. Your story, legendary. Yes. You quit your job as a waitress. You took $1,000 and then you became this this real estate mogul. What advice do you give people who want to start, who want to take that chance like you did and become as successful as you are?
Well, you can't bring it down to simple advice, but I could tell you what stands in the way of almost everyone is they stall about getting it done. And I can tell you the moment you have an idea, rather than doing an analysis, a business plan, what do I do when this happens and that happens? And rather than sitting at home and thinking about it and plotting it out, the smartest thing to do is just get the heck out, jump off the board and get it going. Because, all of us are very resilient by nature. I didn't know I could solve problems until the problem smacked me in the head. I couldn't have analyzed it. And so I think getting it going, you don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going. You'll find the answers once you get out there. I've seen it happen with so many different people in so many businesses. They always find the answers when they're on the street thinking on their feet, their backs against the wall. They don't have enough money. It's amazing what you think of to survive once you're out there. But most people who dream about having their own business just don't really ever get out there to get going. And that to me is like giving up a life dream. You never know what you could have accomplished.
Yeah, you got to take that leap of faith. On that, I got to ask you a Shark Tank question. I just have to. You're a business owner. You want to take that leap of faith. Now you need an investor. You got that start. You need somebody. I need Barbara Corcoran to invest some money in me. How do I know how much of my company I should give up to get that investor?
Well, it's a trading game. You're going to give up as little as you can and get as much for it. And that depends more than what you're willing to give up on what the appetite of the person is who's going to invest in your company. If they're not sold or don't like that kind of business and have to be talked into it, they're going to have to get a big slice of your pie to get motivated. And that's never a good deal that works out. But if they really like you, they believe in you, they believe in that industry, they want to put time and effort in, then you can offer a smaller slice and they'll often take it because it's a negotiation game. It's a question of who has the bigger need, you or the other guy? And that's the very core of all good negotiation, to try to assess that out before you start offering anything. And yet most business people come in with an idea, I'm going to sell this much of my stock for this much. And it's not really that way. It depends just as much on the guy on the other side, what he's thinking. And somewhere in between, you hopefully, we see it every day on Shark Tank, you hopefully have a meeting of the mind somewhere in between. And that's usually a good deal. It's a good deal when everybody leaves the situation a little bit sad. That's what I've learned. I wish I got more. That's a good deal. When I think, God, I got a real good deal here, it's a bad sign.
As long as you're happy in the end, it's good business. Speaking of good business, signing up for your webinar would be good business. What do we need to do that?
All you have to do is go on 888barbara.com and sign up. It's free for anyone today. Anyone can watch the webinar. And if you're needing help with business, you really should realize that we're continuing the business webinar presented by AT&T Business, and you will not leave that webinar without having a list of what you could apply to your business. We are very practical about our approach in helping small business.
Barbara, this is great what you're doing. We appreciate it. I know a lot of small business owners will appreciate it as well. And if they're smart, they'll jump on board. Barbara Corcoran, thank you for starting your day with us this morning.
Okay.
Appreciate you.